Live from the Elk Season Studios in Twin Falls, Idaho. Okay. Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast. We are your hosts, the Chambers Brothers. My name's Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast,
We're going to talk about wolves. We're going to talk about glitches related to permits, trying to get your license and hunting license, whatever, or tags, things like that. Mountain lions are looking for housing in an already difficult housing market in Haley, so we'll talk about that.
that's going to get funny.
Land access and development problems. And fire season begins earlier and earlier, it seems. So we're going to cover all of that and probably more that you didn't ask for here on the podcast today.
Right now on the Elk Season Podcast. But I have a few announcements. First of all, no Elk Season Podcast next week. Again, I have a CrossFit competition that I'm going to. I like to compete. I like to do CrossFit. You know that I do. You're just munching on ice. You're like, yeah,
I wasn't thinking.
This guy will be talking forever. It's okay.
It's got more ice. So I feel like I'm at the hospital.
He's over there with a slice of oatmeal. So I like to do the CrossFit stuff, and I like to compete. Competing induces me to work harder, and the actual competition. Man, I really pour it on. Really pour it on, and I really get to test myself and my physical capabilities. I don't win. I try to win some events. I see an event and I go, I could do good in this event. I try to win. We try for the top 10, and I just like to have fun. So they have
important,
right? They have a masters division. Masters division is old men.
Oh, that's right. You've talked about this.
Old people quotes. Old people.
That's coming up. Your old manhood is.
Yeah. I'm getting AARP stuff in the mail already.
You're getting the signature in June, aren't you?
Yeah. Now that I'm retired, I joke to my wife about being retired all the time. I just work around the house now, take the kids places. I'm kind of retired. Anyway, so no, and yesterday, Friday, April 22nd was Earth Day. Also happened to be my 22nd wedding anniversary. So we had a dinner out on Friday night. But this weekend, when we go up to Caldwell for the competition, we're gonna get a hotel and spend some time. So I'll spend some time telling her no, we can't afford that when we go shopping.
Coincidentally, in a really odd way, and I hope you never. I don't know. Again, you probably never did think about it, but I was worried because it was so unintentional.
Yeah.
That Vesa and I got married on the 21st of April.
Did you really?
The day before.
I didn't know that.
But no, we're not married as long, but it was just incidental. So I've always remembered your anniversary because I'm like, I
never knew that.
Had we realized that, maybe we would have
planned
different.
So it goes Hitler's birthday, your wedding anniversary, my wedding anniversary.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a little slightly uncomfortable now. No,
420.
So anyway, there's that. But congrats on because it's 21 years, right?
It's 22.
22 years.
Because we got married. Yeah. My marriage has been old enough to get drunk for a year. So it has been.
Yeah. So we just passed our sweet 16.
Nice.
But it's actually called a wax anniversary. So
a wax?
Oh yeah, the 16th anniversary is called the wax anniversary. I didn't know this. People that I work with
get your wife a nice wax sculpture.
Yeah, I bought some wax lips.
What? Yeah,
I'm not kidding. In fact, here I even have
lips,
wax lips that my golden retriever helped us model. So
dear God, you're so. Oh yeah, You have to get that picture to me. That's a good one.
So there you go. And then she proceeded to try to eat them. So
wow, that's awesome.
So just silly goofiness.
Well, what else are you supposed to do with wax? Color?
I don't know.
No, it's for eating.
I guess.
I got friends in the Marine Corps. I know what's up.
Yeah.
Free crayons and beer.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So anyway, cool beans. Have a good time with your 22.
Yeah, and it's and the CrossFit competition too. There's a 100-pound, 3 minutes straight. I got to go 100-pound sandbag over my shoulder, from the ground over my shoulder, turn around, ground over my shoulder.
Okay.
There's a couple ring rows. I had a problem with my shoulder this week because I've been working really hard and I got to get back. I got to get back on my diet plan because
plan.
I'm back up in the 250s, and I got down into the 240s, and I'm like 260s creeping right back up a little too fast.
I've leveled off at around 260, but I'm hoping to get.
Here's the secret. Food is a trick.
Yeah.
Food is a trick. You don't need it.
No.
You don't. Even Benjamin Franklin wrote, you eat 2 meals for yourself and 1 for your doctor every day. That's Benjamin Franklin knew. You don't need that much food. Our bodies as mammals are primed to use fat storage as energy.
When we don't have food.
Yeah. And you just put the fork down.
Yeah, like I made pancakes this morning, and I always want to just have more, but I said, okay, I've had 3 pancakes and an egg, and that's it. I mean, it was, and then, I've made them relatively normal size, I guess, but
normal size
is like huge.
And of course, they're just pancakes. It's not like they were floating in an ocean of Mrs. Butterworths.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it was actually we buy the natural
100% pure
100%
maple syrup.
pure.
God bless you.
It's so delicious.
I can't stand stupid syrup.
Once I figured out how to access and also afford the real stuff, there's no going back.
Yeah, when you can afford the real maple syrup.
Yeah.
I can't even eat if I can't afford the syrup, I won't eat the pancakes.
Right.
I mean, unless we're camping.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know what? It's okay. I can't eat Spam unless I'm hunting and camping.
Fair enough.
But you know what? Same thing with Mrs. Butterworth on some log cabin syrup. No thanks.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
For the kids and camping.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't even bring it camping. I'd bring the real stuff camping. I'm that much of a maple snob now. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I get some fresh walnuts from a friend here locally.
Yeah.
And I'll make maple coated walnuts.
Yeah.
And so, have you ever had those?
No, but have you ever heard of walnut syrup?
Yeah.
Walnut trees have a sap too.
Oh.
And it's probably 4 or 5 times more expensive than maple syrup.
Now I have to buy it.
But do I want some?
It's kind of like just put a higher price tag on something and it makes me want it. Right? So case in point, grocery shopping on Friday, I see some really cool bell peppers. They're like yellow and red.
Yeah.
They're like fire colored.
Yeah.
They're really expensive. They have no flavor. Absolutely no flavor.
Aren't green, yellow, and red peppers all the same thing, just harvested at different times?
That's what the lady at the counter was saying. I was like, I don't care. I saw the color. I saw the price. I don't care. Because she rang them up. She's like, she's like, I don't know. You have to tell me if they're worth it. They're not. Except they were worth the novelty.
Yeah.
And they made some really good omelets.
It has been shown, maybe in a placebo kind of way, that good-looking food tastes better. Pretty food tastes better than ugly food.
And this did not. It just tasted bland. We had to add seasoning to it to make it taste better. But I got the pretty that I had going for it.
Right. So you're not always after flavor. You're after texture and aesthetics.
Yeah. Both of those they had going for it.
Okay, great.
So yeah.
All right. 2 out of 3.
Yeah. We'll take it.
All right. So also it's finally starting to get warm. We can finally go out and enjoy maybe go to a 3D archery shoot. Maybe go out and do some shed hunting, horn hunting. Maybe we can get some trail cameras out. I do plan to produce a scouting report. Either for everyone in the world to see and not know where it is, or for everyone in the world to see and one person to be able to go and hunt elk there this fall. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Got some camping adventures with my 5-year-old planned.
Yeah.
Hopefully gonna get an elk call up to his lips this fall, at least for one overnighter. At least one overnighter. I know he's a wild man. He's
a good kid.
It'll be all my responsibility. I can do it. I'm talking myself up right now.
I have kids too.
I'm scared to death. But you just got to start young. You just got to start them young, and we just need to have some positive experiences and don't hike too far and don't push them too hard because I want everybody to go as hard as me. That is not always good idea for other people.
I know, because I want to go at my speed, and when I have to adjust to others, and we have a very similar speed, so it's always been very complimentary to be able to go out in the field with you. But you have
These past couple of years, I've been moving slow.
Yeah, there is that.
I have been moving kind of slow, but that's okay.
We age. So
hey, I'm speeding back up. That has been a function of my fat ass. That's a true story.
So a little bit of news from me. So I had a little thing that I had to go to yesterday where I work, and one of my colleagues, we got to talking, and I mentioned how I do a podcast with you every Sunday about elk hunting and bow hunting.
Right. And
she said, "Oh, my husband's a bow hunter."
Okay.
And I go, "Okay." And then she proceeded to say this, and I just love it.
Yeah.
I go, they sound like our kind of people. She goes, "Every September, my husband takes his bow out for a walk."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I go, "I know exactly what you're saying. That's got to be the theme of this podcast," is what I told her. I said,
there's some guys on TikTok that's like the okayest hunter, like bow hiker.
Yeah.
Bow hike. I think bow hiker is just one of my favorites. He's like, I just take my bow for a hike.
Yeah.
That's just all I'm really doing.
Take my bow out for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a walk, honey. It's a hike. Okay.
Yeah. So, but, and then she said, "Oh, he also works for Idaho Fish and Game."
Oh, nice.
And so he's a Forest Service employee. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, sort of expressed to her, the position of our podcast being, focused around, trying to be logical, mindful of the science, respectful of active, I talk very openly about having very intentional management processes has been a theme.
Yeah,
and so she thought that was pretty cool. And I don't want, I hope I'm not speaking too much in regard to the information she shared, but just the stance of, the Department of Fish and Game here, trying to be active management and when you're married to somebody who works in that field, there can sometimes be challenges if you're out in public with your gear on, because everybody has an opinion.
Oh yeah, strong opinions.
I thought that was an interesting thing, and so I just want to advocate. So hopefully this ties in and makes sense. So I once worked up north in Haley and Bellevue. And so the idea, when you come across celebrities, they're just human beings, right? So Tom Hanks even advocates for that at the end of The Simpsons. "Hey, if you see me out and about with my family, let me be," right?
Right.
He's just sort of saying, "Look, I'm a human being, and I know that I'm in the public eye a lot, but if you could just respect my humanity when I'm just trying to be me."
Right.
And I think that's something that I learned early on to try to allow. Like one time we were in Vegas and I saw some celebrities, but I'm like,
I remember that.
Let them finish eating. I'll let them have their moment so they don't have to be bothered by me. But I was having a little bit of that.
That was a good story.
Yeah.
That's a good story. And there were other people bugging him.
Yeah.
After breakfast.
Yeah. And so I saw that they were walking out, and I was like, okay, now I feel like it's okay to just say hey. And I didn't want to bother them. Don't want to take too much time. I just said hi, shake their hands, and then we leave. But the idea, I think, for people who are in public service roles could be said the same. If they're eating lunch, if they're, if you have an opinion regarding the management or active processes regarding fish and game, there's an office you can go to. There are meetings and events that you can attend.
Yeah.
There are surveys you should be completing. Those opinions matter, but they will matter more when they're done in the right way.
And there are groups you can become a part of.
Yes.
That will advocate a similar, you hope, a similar voice. So and there's a lot of those groups out there. I think one of them I have in the notes today, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So
I got to remember not to crunch ice in the microphone.
Oh wait, my brother's talking. Hold on. Crunch. Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a class one time. I was teaching across the state, and they had a very sensitive microphone in their classroom, and they're in like Weiser, Idaho, and I'm in Twin Falls, Idaho, and I've got students in the classroom, and so I'm going to put on a video, and so we're watching a video as a class, and all we can hear, I had to stop the video because all we could hear is crinkle, 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 crunch, crunch, crunch. Crinkle, 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 crunch, crunch, crunch. Somebody had chips and was eating them in class.
Yeah.
And so I had to stop the video. Hey, can you mute your end? Because anyway, it was just kind of funny. So
yeah, that's.
I'll never forget that. And I go, with all due respect, please keep eating.
Yeah.
We just need to not hear it.
Okay.
Anyway. So where are we at? We to the news?
Well, I do have my own stories of leaving a mic on in a remote. I am not interested in telling them, but I want you to know they'll be with me forever.
Yes.
So yeah, I know the feeling. Anyway, okay, now we can go.
So our first stop, wolves are a common theme. They're going to be.
Yes, forever.
I think as long as they're not extinct.
As part of the Elk Season Podcast, when you want to talk elk and elk management, wolves are a very, very big part of that conversation, and they're going to become an even bigger part as you will see.
Yeah, the Colorado something. What's CPW?
Colorado
hold
Parks.
On. I'm just going to start going generic here. The Colorado Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start calling every.
You can call them. Is there like a fish cops? The Colorado Fish Cop Office. I don't know. I don't know how ridiculous can you go. The Montana Fish Cop Office. Fishing cops.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fish, wildlife, and parks. It's parks and wildlife.
It's fish and game. It's game and fish. It's Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah.
And it's different in every state, just so we can keep our heads straight about it.
But also, each state has a different name. Now what are we at?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I never thought about it like that. Anyway.
So yeah, there's wolves. And which you're on the Colorado?
Yeah.
So the Colorado, is that the Colorado website?
Yes, the technical working group, stakeholder advisory group.
So wolves in Colorado are a big deal. They're going to be a big deal for many, many decades to come. There have been resolutions voted on to reintroduce them. There's been laws that have stopped that. So here you have the law in California where California relists the wolf.
Yeah.
Now the wolf is no longer under state management. So why does it matter if the state votes to let wolves back in?
Right.
Right? They literally like, yeah, we do. Now, so the court system is a mess. It doesn't really matter. Wolves are in Colorado.
Yeah.
The first wolf pup to be born in the state in more than 70 years was born this year, and they've had out west. I almost said we. It's not been my policy, but so many people that I've talked to in the past 30 years when it comes to wolves have been shoot, shovel, and shut up about it.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But after reading a book called The Decade of the Wolf, I find out, hey, 30% give or take, of wolf depredation is caused by poachers.
Wow.
So it's a bummer.
Yeah, it is.
That's also going to happen in Colorado.
Right.
But Colorado has more elk than Idaho and Montana put together. And just so much more room. There's going to be twice as many wolves in that country as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to really need a tough balancing act. Because huge elk populations, if they take, I don't know what, 10% dip, 15% dip because of wolves, it's gonna cause issues for guys looking for elk tags because they're not gonna have as many elk tags to sell.
Yeah.
But Colorado has its own page. If you're interested in hunting elk in Colorado, and you should be. It should be. I mean, there's so many elk.
Yeah.
It's such great, big, beautiful country. And to see it before and after the wolf, to go and see it now and hunt it, see it before and go and see it hopefully in another 20 years when after the wolves are back and see how the landscape has changed and see how the experiences have changed. And hopefully we'll be talking about it the whole 20 years. Because this is just an ongoing story. Now, but the reason I have this pickup is because Colorado Parks and Wildlife or Fish and Game or whoever they are,
that guy,
Colorado has just dedicated an entire wolf page. If you want to make a comment, negative, positive on wolves, you can do that there. If you want to find out, you want to donate to the wolf cause. You want to understand where the laws are. They have this whole page dedicated to wolves in Colorado. And it'll be interesting to see that page develop over the next 15, 20 years.
Sure. Yeah. Just use the right outlets and join the conversation.
Yeah.
And help move things forward in a way that hopefully management can get ahead of it so that we have less poaching. Poaching will always happen, unfortunately. It's a bum deal. But even here.
And I still have to say that I'm surprised because everybody that said shoot, shovel, and shut up, I thought they were just blowing smoke.
Yeah. We wish.
Yeah.
We wish. But that doesn't go away from the idea of, look, there's a way to go about it. Here in Idaho, there's active processes to try to help inform and educate the general public about how to actively manage. You can actually go to wolf trapping education classes in Nampa.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that there's going to be an amount of education and opportunity to learn. And you can ask questions. I think maybe you don't want to be a trapper, but you could go learn and at least be a part of that process. I don't live near Nampa, so I probably won't be able to do that. But
I might go to that. It's only a Saturday. You go from like 9 a.m. to 1, and it's a certification, and then from 2 to 6, it's another certification. There's a trapping and there's a hunting and a trapping certification. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested.
$10.
Because Idaho now says it wants to get rid of up to 90% of its wolf population. And since sportsmen with a $5 tag, you can kill a wolf with $5 on a rifle.
Wow.
Okay? They can't find enough people to take the $5 tags. They have to hire trappers to go out there and cull the wolf population. So, yeah, why not? Why can't I get some of that state money? Go out and follow the wolves around, learn where they are, see where the elk are in the spring, know where the antlers are going to drop, huh?
Makes me wonder what that guy who released that bear from the wolf trap. You remember that video I showed you during deer season? I wonder if he was maybe part of that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's interesting because I do come across. I follow a lot of outdoor sportsmen on TikTok. And on YouTube and on Facebook, and it's funny to see, oh, whoops, I got a mountain lion in my trap instead of a badger.
Yeah.
How do they undo that?
Yeah.
Have you seen him undo that?
No.
You saw
I showed you the bear.
You showed me what kind of bear was that?
That's just a black bear.
Just a black bear.
Oh, but it was oh man. That guy was gutsy.
He was brave. Well, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he knew that bear wanted to get away. And as soon as that bear got loose, he was gone. But even faster than that bear ran away, the paw came out of that trap, and that guy had his sidearm pointed at the face of the bear. Like, just in case, I know you want to leave, but just in case, leave anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So in my thought is like, obviously he's done it. I don't have any experience, but I'm like, bear spray maybe?
Yeah. They take a tote, like a large tote, and they put it over a badger or over a wolf or over a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And they just wiggle it to their paw is outside, and they can release that paw, and then they pull the tote off and they bolt.
Yeah.
They bolt. There is some really cool footage of grizzly bears being released, right?
Yeah.
And it's remote control.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I actually came across a video of an old video. I think 1989. They were filming this release of a grizzly bear, young bear, and the guy's up on the back of the truck and he's lifting up the gate. And the bear comes out, and then the bear decides he's interested in what's going on. And he kind of attacks the guy, but then they eventually get it to scare off. But he got attacked.
He comes out of the front of that and climbs straight up the front of the gate. Right.
Yeah.
Just claws his way up. Yeah. Now it's a remote process, and they set up cameras because it's comical. They don't come out of there afraid. They come out of there angry.
Yeah. Grizzly bears got something wrong with their medulla oblongata.
Yeah, they do.
So, and this one comes out of Montana. Deer permits were drawn in a way that caused the problem. There was some glitches.
This was a big deal. And I meant to talk about it last week. We kind of ran out of time. But there was just a glitch. And, some guys, I'm not one of them. And I not that I don't like the guys that do, but some guys, they know every step to the permitting process. They know how to put in, and they wait
Yeah.
They wait for the day that it comes out. And they're like, "Ooh, this is my." And there's a lot of guys like back east. They're like, I got to know if I'm going to be hunting this fall.
Yep.
I got to start planning. I'm really excited. And to have a glitch like this,
That's 2,400 elk and deer applications were out of Montana's permit draw because of that glitch.
That is 2,400 guys drinking too many beers that night in frustration.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Because I saw some of the posts like, "Hey, I can't get through Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I've been trying to call them."
Yeah.
And they're not answering the phone. They got 2,400 people trying to call them.
We made a boo-boo. We're trying to fix it. Patience will yield results eventually.
Yeah. Well, and people want it to be fair. So if you excluded me and they drew and you drew everything available,
yeah,
what, you're just gonna say I didn't get to draw? I don't know how they're gonna remedy the whole situation.
We'll monitor.
It was a fiasco, and I'm sure it's something that'll happen again.
Never had a fiasco. I always do things right out the gate. Right?
No fiasco ever.
So, anyway, into Idaho world, you come just a little bit south of Montana into Haley. We have a mountain lion that apparently likes to house hunt. I don't know if that's really what it's doing, but it's looking for resources. It's a beast, and it's trying to figure out how to gain resources, right? So, tell me more about what you know about this situation.
All I know is that I look at the pictures and I go, I see a dead cat. It's unfortunate.
Did they kill it? Did they kill it?
No, they're gonna though.
Okay.
They have to.
If it's
it's dangerous. It's
when they
really
encroaches,
dangerous.
yeah.
That you get too close to humans, and there's children. There's schools in Bellevue, right up against the mountains.
Yeah. Was there like feral cats that was eating or something like that? I thought I saw something about how some of the feral cats or some of the cats in the neighborhood were disappearing.
Yeah.
So
They were having that issue.
yeah.
That's just a correlation. But cats.
But mittens might be part of a bigger mittens now.
Yeah. I know. I was gonna talk about wolf bait. How Carter Niemeyer liked to use cats as wolf bait. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I thought of another story from a book that I'm reading now called The Decade of the Wolf.
Okay.
How Carter Niemeyer used the feces of a dead wolf to trap its mate.
Oh, wow. I think you've told me about this.
Its mate. I don't think I have, but its mate had was the leader of this pack, and this alpha male was like so big and like super powerful and really, really cool. And he was killed somehow. But anyways, and they wanted to trap her. They wanted to find out what was going on with her, and nobody could get her. And he trapped her using some of his feces.
Wow.
Anyway, and then it reminds me of how animals get trap wary.
Yeah.
Right? They've been trapped.
Yeah.
They've been trapped a few times, and they're like, something fishy.
Yeah.
Something stinky. And there was a famous grizzly bear out in Lincoln, Montana, who had been like logged as the most trapped and the most caged, most collared, most tracked grizzly like ever.
Okay.
And it was time to get him again. And they could not do it. He was
one step ahead of the game.
Super stealthy.
Wow.
Then Fish and Game decides they're going to have a camp out. They're like doing a conference camp out.
Sure.
The camp out is crashed by this bear. And they get to go hunt it.
Wow.
Anyways, so all that cascaded down when you talked about trapping.
Yeah. It's good.
Interesting. It's an interesting stuff. And there's so many more stories about Carter Niemeyer and wolves. And I'm sure we'll cover them here on the Elk Season Podcast.
Yeah.
Some very specific stories that just got to be told. And where were we? I know we're short on content today, so I'm just rattling off whatever.
It works, man. It works.
Whatever I can. I'll just keep going.
We're at the halfway mark.
Yeah. Oh, I could go another 30
Ramble
easy.
on.
Easy.
Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation has the Elk Network.
Yeah.
They have this Elk Network. I'm sorry. I forgot what this was about. It has
It's
to do with
okay.
the Tabby Mountain, Utah development. I'm sorry, I totally misled the introduction of this thing.
I take pictures with my phone to remind me of something.
Yeah.
They don't always remind him of the same thing.
Yeah.
Because
So I have to go with what they say.
Yeah.
And so
versus my memory.
We brief before every episode, but my memory forgets. And this takes us into the land management. We talked about, the wolves, we talked about the mountain lion, but now we're talking about access.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? So access has many faces, and this has to do with potentially permitting to use a certain lot of land in Utah for development for homes. And the problem is what?
The problem is it disrupts the wildlife.
Yeah.
Because of the way this particular subdivision or development, and there are many of these developments. This is by no means a standout case, right? They're all over in Colorado and Montana. Colorado has some very specific law about not inhibiting private development.
Yeah.
So you can just encroach. And eventually something's going to have to change there.
Yeah.
But they're going to have a lot of interactions. So this border between wildlife and humans doesn't just affect humans.
Right.
It affects the wildlife. And if there are too many roads and there are too many houses and too many fences and too many dogs, then some of these elk, some of these deer won't migrate through there. Or they'll have to migrate further north or further south or take a more dangerous path. And so a development, as much as we need the development, it has an impact.
Huge.
Yeah.
I would imagine, here's
some have a greater impact than others.
right. And I'm going to go really out on a limb here. This is probably not going to make much sense to some people, but we're building land bridges over highways for wildlife to have greater access. And I wonder if we're headed towards a future where we have land bridges over cities, so our wildlife can still manage.
Yeah,
it seems kind of goofy, but
it doesn't. I have a thought just now. You go deep into the backcountry and you think, oh, this is a beautiful place. I'd like to preserve it, make sure there's no roads. People can hike back here, low impact on the land, and it's a beautiful piece of wilderness. But wasn't this where your house is sitting right now a beautiful piece of wilderness at one time?
Yeah.
On the edge of the Snake River Canyon.
Sagebrushy and
and
rabbit filled.
Whatever lived here.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't. You live here.
Yep.
So there's a cost to all of that. And you say, well, just we're protecting the mountains and the bears and the elk, but there's the beaver and the whitetail, and there's so many things that rely on good streams.
As much as we want to say certain predators or certain types of animals are going to impact an ecosystem and change elk habits and what have you, the biggest impact of anything that has an impact on a species is man.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to guilt shame anybody.
No.
Just say that's the reality.
He's just spitting facts, yo.
Read it on the internet.
Just spitting the truth in his Pink Floyd t-shirt. Rock on, man. I've never heard that album.
Oh, dude, it's so
First
good.
Light from the Moon? Never heard it. Never.
Yeah, well, you have to be, I don't know. It's they're not for everybody, but
yeah.
I think my favorite experience with this album, because I got it for free. I bought some books at Idaho State University, and I bought stuff off of Amazon, and Amazon's like, hey, Dark Side of the Moon, here you go. I was like, oh, cool. So I bought it and I listened to it, and I was like, I dig it. I like the concept. You listen to it from A to B or A to Z. But then I was introduced to this layover of the entire album, which is about 44 minutes.
Yeah.
Over the first 44 minutes of
like 2001: A Space Odyssey?
No.
It was a famous movie. I think I remember. I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, I probably told you about it.
Yeah. No, I've heard about it from other people.
Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's right.
The first 44 minutes of Wizard of Oz, and there's all these nuances with the lyrics and the change of music, and so like there's a real. It was The Great Gig in the Sky is the name of a song during the scene when the tornado hits the farm, and it's like. Just the name of a song has so they always claim that, or I've always read that they've claimed that there's no connection, but it's kind of a fun crossover. So if you can go out into the internet and find the layover of those two, it's kind of fun. So, and if you're having a layover because it's blowing and snowing, maybe you've downloaded this to take you up to your hunting spot, and you can watch this while you're trying to kill time.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. That does sound like a good time.
Oh, hi.
That's a good time killer.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Speaking of access, this is something that You see it on land access maps, and you can find free access maps through
Right. Or you can use Onyx.
Yeah,
there are things that very similar to Onyx. That Onyx,
like Geocommunicator.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be called. I think it's something else now. But you can find Onyx takes it and makes it into a business that appifies it basically.
Right.
But you can go get that information for free off the government. So I'm not a big fan of monthly or weekly subscription stuff, and so I really try to keep that stuff minimal. And Onyx just hasn't won me over
Costco is
yet.
the only subscription he has, and it's only once a year.
It's not that I don't have them. I'm very picky with what I have.
I got so many.
Because
I just have to check my bank account every day. Go, I still have a subscription to that.
I don't want to drain my bank account because I got every.
Oh, that's
anyway,
right. I got a subscription to the car wash. I'm gonna go wash my car.
But trying to figure out the best way to access a place to hunt that you can legally hunt can be complicated, based on access rules or whether or not you're able to cross property. But there's an issue that came up in Wyoming, and we have similar places here in Idaho to this. But
there's places like this all out west.
Yeah.
All over the place.
You'll literally find a checkerboard style land ownership versus public land. And so it's like, how in the heck are we supposed to access these thousands and thousands of acres when they're hopscotched into this checkerboard pattern?
Yeah.
And so
every piece of public land, all four sides are bordered by private land. And every piece of private land, all four sides are bordered by public land.
Yeah.
And you can't go from private to public land. And there's a big court case right now out of Wyoming. It's called the Corner Cross case.
Okay.
If you want to learn more about it, you can just Google the Corner Cross case. But basically what they did was, because the corners meet up, the sides don't meet up, but the corners do. And they used a ladder to go over a fence from one corner to another. And the people that own one square, some huge conglomerate rancher, billionaire, said, "Hey, that's our airspace. You're not allowed to go up into our space." And he wants civil compensation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
But I think the story, to me, what I read, ended in good news, because the case has gone upstream to the federal court, and federal courts tend to lean a lot more on access to federal land.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll say, yeah.
To me, it's like, what's reasonable versus unreasonable?
Yeah.
In what way was anybody being harmed with this behavior by the individual crossing the corner?
Right.
It almost feels like, to me, a waste of time.
Well,
to be that picky about something.
It could be. It could be that this billionaire is in on it.
Possibly.
Right? If you see that all this land is there, this is how they pass crazy abortion bills, right? They say, okay, here's a law, and now we're going to make this law, and we're going to challenge the law. And when we challenge the law, we just find some specific case that can take it all the way up to a federal level, and now we have a federal ruling to use as precedent, a current federal ruling to use as precedent. So maybe this guy's like, hey, since we're in Wyoming, let's clear this up now. Let's make sure everybody can access public land. Why don't you corner cross? I'll file a lawsuit. I mean, so he could be in on it.
Yeah, true.
Because if you get a ruling in Wyoming and a federal ruling, now it's going to lean that way everywhere everywhere in the West. All the corner crossings, and we're going to have some pretty definitive language to use if we want to corner cross, if we want to access some of that property. So maybe I'm not going to say anything good or bad about the landowner from filing a lawsuit, because this is how the process works. So if he's serious and he doesn't want people invading his airspace above his corner, screw him.
Yeah.
If he's genuine in like, this is ridiculous that this is even a law, that you guys would even consider this, let's go ahead and force the issue. And that's how they change the laws, by forcing the issue. So maybe it's that. Either way, I think we're going to have some new language that goes along with accessing some public lands.
Speaking of accessing public lands, development is always a bit of a hot topic for people.
Yeah.
Right? And so that there's this thing called the Houses Act, which would allow public lands to be sold for development.
Yeah.
It really sits
It's uneasy.
uneasy, very uneasy with me.
Okay. So let's run a thought experiment on this.
Okay.
Across the canyon.
Didn't work. Just kidding.
Across the canyon.
Yeah.
Right here. It's BLM. That's public land.
Yeah.
Can the BLM sell some of that? It's right on the canyon, a 500-foot canyon.
Yeah.
We can sell that land, or we can have guys riding their motorcycles on it for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
That's a tough one.
I've always understood there to be leasing processes, right? So if I wanted to make an established, because they talked about maybe putting an airport there at one time.
Oh, really?
I think that was it, maybe.
Wow.
But leasing from the land so you could make developments on it, and it would be like 100-year type lease.
So all the houses on one side of Canyon Ferry Lake outside of Helena have that 100-year lease.
Oh, wow.
And then with like the right to renew, but if something happened and they're like, yeah, we're not going to renew it. Sorry, your 100 years is up.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just lose the houses.
It sounds like I have more to learn about all of this process because at one side I can appreciate I don't want the development, but the other side you're right. There's these other establishments and entities that are already doing something along those lines.
Right. So but where's the line? Where do I get to say where the wilderness that can be encroached, and where it can't be encroached, can't be encroached? Do I get to say that? No. Public to private, taking public lands private is taking public land private.
Right.
But there's a difference. So there's state land.
Right.
That's public land.
Right.
There's BLM. That's public land.
Yeah.
There's Forest Service.
Correct.
That's public land.
Yeah.
And I think there's another classification, another distinction. I'm not sure. It might just be wilderness. But which is national forest. So it might just be state and state, federal, and BLM.
Yeah.
Which is I think is federal. Anyway, I'm already confused.
Yeah. Having better education on that would be useful, I think. Understanding, because I'm confused. So I'm going to stop trying to force it in my brain.
So if the state owns land and the state owns a lot of land, the state can sell it to you, and you can find that on your Onyx, or on the geocommunicator or whatever. You can find it. Go, that's state land. State can sell that to you. If we took some federal lands and made them state, then maybe the state could sell those lands too, and probably would. The problem is when fire season comes and state-owned land starts on fire, state-owned land needs to be put out by the state.
Yep.
That is an enormous
cost,
enormous expense, and we can't just print money for fun to fight fires like the feds can.
Right.
And they can. They just have a lot more muscle. They got a lot more lateral moves to make when it comes to their budget.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one of the biggest issues, and then
it makes me wonder, because of how complicated it is when you see certain movements rising up, and I won't point the finger at any, but there's several going on here in the West, here in Idaho even, regarding state land use and access. Fully appreciating that aspect of state land versus federal land, because I know that there was a particular individual trying to start a movement with, hey, give us back our land, and we can turn it into state land. But not fully appreciating that aspect of the financial obligation you have should you have a major disaster occur. Right.
And all of a sudden you have to sell it to somebody, and you don't have a guarantee to buy it back.
Right.
And they can take this state land, and it becomes private, and it becomes a private ranch for...
And then you get sued for jumping over the corner of their property.
Right. If they're those kind of people, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's complicated, and I'm sure we'll educate ourselves more, and we'll keep an eye on things as it moves forward. But there really is good news. The book I read, That Wild Country by Mark Kenyon, really good news. Every conservation group he talked to, from
awesome,
Steve Ranella, who's he? Randy Newberg.
Randy.
Everybody, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. They're all like, this cannot happen. This would be devastating to outdoor sports in general. So there's enough of these advocacy groups If you're not part of one, join one.
Yeah.
And let your voice be heard that way.
Absolutely.
Because they want federal lands to stay federal lands.
Be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
At least. Speaking of having a budget for fire, that kind of takes us to this last one we have this week. But before we go to it, because there's an active fire in New Mexico, if I'm not
two of them.
mistaken. Yeah.
Two.
But a big part of what fuels wildfire is drought. And there's a whole bunch of factors. I shouldn't just say one, but drought is definitely something that's a factor. And here in Idaho, we have had a long-standing drought for a while. We had, where we like to hunt, we had one of the worst droughts in a long time there. And I don't know if you've had a chance to look into updates, because we had some late April weather, or no, we had some recently. Yeah, we had some weather, and things moved through, and so we got some good moisture content. Not going to remove us from the drought, but are you familiar with where we're at?
I saw some reports, and these are from memory. So, yeah,
I went on a limb with that question, but
I think Lucky Peak. There's the Boise River comes out of the mountains north of Boise.
Yeah,
and there's a couple of really big important reservoirs.
Right,
Boise is a big place because there's a lot of agriculture there.
Yeah.
And if you look on Google Earth, you'll see lots of agriculture,
lots of crop circles.
We have. I saw a couple of things this week. One of them was that Lucky Peak was at like 80%.
Okay.
And Anderson Ranch was another reservoir was lower than that. Was like 62%. But I saw another report this week. It was a TikTok. Okay. I saw a TikTok.
Full
if you
disclosure.
say a TikTok, nobody will listen. If you say I saw a report, now you have my attention. I saw a report on TikTok. but really, all he explains is that, listen, the valley of the lake is like this, and he's showing pictures of Hoover Dam and the other one on the Colorado, Lake Powell.
Yes.
Lake Mead and Lake Powell. And they show how lakes are shaped like this.
Yes.
So the top 10 feet is really the top 70% of water.
Holy crap.
I mean, it's really, they're really bad. It looks bad. If there was as much water below as there was above, they might be okay.
Yeah.
But there is not by a lot. Not only that, the bottom part of that Y is filled with silt.
Yeah, silt.
It is filled.
I almost said soot.
Yeah.
I meant to say silt.
I don't know how deep that silt is, but this project's more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
Or not quite 100. Not quite 100.
This project's old.
There's a lot of silt. I don't know how much is there. I don't know how active they are at removing it, or have been at removing it, or even if it's removable.
Right.
If they can dredge it up somehow. So anyways, the arid West has some very, very serious issues, and they're going to be looking into this very deeply and very closely in the next few years.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to.
The amount of water that's transported to Vegas and Phoenix, and I mean, we say Phoenix, but it's the greater Phoenix area. I mean, it's all.
Oh yeah, it's all Arizona. Yeah, Prescott. Yeah, Phoenix is such a huge hive of humanity.
Yeah.
People say, I live in this suburb. I live in this place. Where's that? It's out by Phoenix. Oh yeah, you mean Phoenix?
Yeah.
Because I
flew in and out of Phoenix in 2020, and it was just
when we came back from Mexico, we flew at night, and I'm like, that's Phoenix.
Yeah. It's kind of fun flying over the states at night, because you can see, like, that was how I saw. Oh crap! We were flying over Texas on our way into Phoenix, and it was late, and I was able to pick out, like what's on the coast.
Galveston?
No. Houston. So
Houston's closer,
we flew over Houston from Tampa Bay, and then in the middle, I can't remember. It's not Dallas, but there's it's the big town in the middle. But
Austin, Houston, Dallas.
Might have been Austin.
Austin's the capital. Houston's a little bit bigger. San Antonio's way further out west.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
I don't know Texas that well.
Neither do I.
But I know the Earth at night. I've almost studied maps of the Earth at night as much as I study Google Earth. And I go, that's Denver, that's Salt Lake, that's Twin Falls, that's Jackpot,
It's a
Nevada.
fingerprint for the town.
That is very much, I can say, that is Mountain Home, Idaho.
Yeah.
I can find Mountain Home in Idaho at night from space,
Nice.
if that's a thing.
Yeah.
With a really, 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 really good camera.
So speaking of drought, not having resources, but fire, right? So we have this Mitchell fire. There's 2 fires going on.
And last
Campbell
year
Road,
was smoky.
Mitchell.
Last year was smoky, like from June 1st
Yeah.
through the end of elk season.
Yeah. It just,
We had no good summer days.
no.
It was all hot and sticky and smoky all frickin' summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, you were talking.
We were just talking about fire season, and fire season it effectively has already started.
Yeah.
There used to be a time where you'd anticipate it being, we have to be concerned about this part of summer, but it's the more and more in the last several years, particularly you hear them saying, look, fire season is going to be whenever it occurs, and we have to anticipate it starting right away.
And it's starting now. It is starting in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will be coming up in Colorado. There'll be places in Utah and California. California burns late into the year.
Yeah.
So they sort of take a little bit longer to dry up through the summer, hopefully. And then they have a tough fire season. The Santa Ana winds come in, I think, after elk season, October, November.
Mm-hmm.
And really just wreak havoc. So we hope that there's more rain. We hope the reservoirs get filled, and it's really important for elk ecology.
Yeah.
Having some good rivers,
having green, having moisture. I mean, getting out on the trail and being able to go to your typical water holes and not have them dry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been devastating to go to some places where we have fished in the past.
Yeah.
And to see what droughts have done
Yeah.
to that, and you're like, oh, there used to be good water here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I hope it comes back. I hope every winter. I think I spend most winter looking into the mountains going, come on.
Just get a little more moisture.
Just keep snowing.
I have some students from the Haley area, and I asked, with the recent storms, I go, did snow stay, or how does that look? And they're like, in the valleys, no.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe it would have hung out maybe longer, but they're like, no, there's some in the mountains, but it's already pretty much melted back.
We can fly up. What's that road? Trail Creek.
Summit Creek.
Is it? Trail Creek? Why am I saying Trail Creek?
Maybe it's Trail Creek.
Is that another one of the places I'm not supposed to say?
No, it's not that. It's when you leave Sun Valley.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that's Summit Creek, because it
Maybe
depends on
it
which
is.
way you're driving. Because I
Right.
think Summit Creek is from the other
I
way,
know.
and then it's Trail Creek Pass.
I know it's Gibbonsville Road in Idaho, and it's Wisdom Road on the other side.
Yeah.
It's weird like that. Or it's like Wisdom Road on this side, and
Yeah.
it's Galveston Road.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what we have. That's what we have this week. The drought is continuing, but get out there, shoot your bow. I saw a guy on TikTok make a bow that pulled 60 pounds
Okay.
out of a piece of PVC
Nice.
and shot it.
Well, let's push pause. We need to go to the to Kringle's downtown,
Yeah.
and let's do this live.
I am very tempted. I'm very tempted just for the sake of fun.
Yeah.
And I have a recurve to get it strung, get some arrows, and just start flinging them.
Yeah.
Just start having some fun.
I've been tempted to build a recurve
Yeah?
from scratch.
Okay, let's do it.
I
I know. I watched a guy do it on TikTok. It only took him like 90 seconds.
yeah, that's
It's that easy.
hello.
He has all these forms built. He's got to steam everything. He's got all these forms built.
Yeah.
But you look at it and you go, well, you do that 3 or 4 times, I might get it right.
Yeah, that's the
Right
idea.
on the 4th or 5th time.
If you read anybody's blog about building them, they say, be patient.
Right.
You're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are going
Yeah.
you work through them to make ultimately a product that's worth your time.
They're like crepes, man. The first one never turns out.
Yeah.
Just throw it away.
Now I
it's
want
just
crepes.
good practice. Just good practice.
Yeah.
That second one's always a bit weird too. But you stuff it down anyway,
Yeah,
Anyway.
it goes down the same.
Anyways, so no podcast. I know, huge disappointment. No podcast next
Yes.
week. But we'll be back. What is this? Is this episode 16?
16.
Sweet 16.
How about that?
Episode 17 coming up in 2 weeks. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you.
Be well. Cheers.